Hi guys, welcome back. So today we are doing some Valentine's airbrush nails. So I have put the tips on, I've gone over on a white gel polish, and I'm just going to quickly go over with a matte top coat. So I love matte top coat on top of nails when I'm doing any kind of artwork, as it saves you having to file or buff a gloss top coat. So I'll bung that under the lamp for a minute. So this is the airbrush that I am using. So I am just going to apply some airbrush paint into the little container on the top, and then I'll just try it out on some paper. So that wasn't working because I didn't put enough paint inside the container. So I do quickly just put a little bit more in, and then it works fine. So just make sure that is coming out and working properly before you do start on your design. So let's move these where you can see them. So on the top of these I am going to do, it is a red, and on camera it doesn't look red at all, but this is definitely a red. So when I'm doing an ombre, I go from side to side with the airbrush. So with your trigger, well, the air comes out all the time, so when you pull the trigger back, if you pull it back a little bit, you'll just get a little bit of paint coming out. If you pull it all the way back, a lot comes out. So you've got to get that trigger how you like it. So you're better off just getting a piece of white paper and just practicing pulling the trigger backwards and forwards till you know how fast your airbrush works. So here I'm just going to take that red out, so I'm just going to put some airbrush remover in there, or paint remover, airbrush cleaner, and then just put that through a couple of times and spray that out till that's gone. So when I run out of that, I fill my little container up with windscreen solution cleaner, whatever it's called. Screen cleaner, I can't remember what it's called, but it's what you put in your washers. So I've just filled that one up now with Walford Purple. So I'm going to go across again from side to side, and as I'm getting to the fade out part, I just pull the airbrush slightly away from the nail so that it fades a little bit. So just quickly side to side, just so that fade comes from the red to the pink and then onto that white. So the closer you are, the more paint you're going to get on. So when you pull the airbrush away, it just does like a mist. So it gradually goes from dark and then fades out. So another thing when you're doing airbrush, if you do put a bit too much on it, it's a bit wet, then do not pull the trigger back and the air comes out, and you can quickly just go over the paint to dry it a lot faster. So I've just cleaned that brush again, airbrush again should I say, and I am putting in some white. So again, I know the nails are white underneath, but I just want to make sure that they're pure white and it's fading up onto that pink. So I'm going to start from the tip now. So I like to do it on my finger and then go straight onto the nail, just so that I can make sure the paint's coming out nice. So onto my finger and then straight onto that nail. And I'm going to do that on all these nails. So before I top coat these, I'm not sure if I do it on this one, but I'm just going to quickly go over with just the air. Yeah, I'm going to just let the air come out. So I've just switched that on and I'm just going over with the air just to dry them off properly. So you can see when it's drying, because it's shiny when it's wet, and then as it's drying it goes to a matte. So once I'm happy with how they're looking, I'm going to quickly top coat them again with the matte top coat. And then I will bob that under the lamp for a minute. So when I was training to do airbrush nails a few years back, you actually use just normal nail polish for your bases and your top coats, but it takes too long to dry, so I much prefer using the gel top coats because it's quick. So these are the stencils I'm going to use. So this one has got some hearts on there somewhere, I can't find them, I don't know what we're up with me, but there's some hearts on there. And obviously that other one is just a metal sheet and it's got circles in it, so that is what I'm going to use. So once that has dried, I'm going to wipe that tacky layer off that mat so that it's a nice surface ready to do some more airbrush. Just give it a quick wipe off and make sure that you top coat every part of your design, because once you start wiping off it will take the colour off so easy, and there's no worse than having to go back in and touch up. So to do these stencils, this one I am going to have to hold. You can get vinyl stickers or you could use duct tape or anything that you've got, not duct tape, masking tape to do your designs, but you've got to bend that round that nail so there's no gaps between the netting or whatever you're using and the nail. So I've still got white inside my airbrush, so I'm quickly gonna just go over the top part of that in a fine mist of white. Still want all that pink coming through, I just want a little bit of detail underneath the arts and stuff when I come to them, so I'm going to do the same on the pinky, so just slightly up and down that nail, not a lot, and that'll just leave the imprints of the circles like that. And then I'm going to use this stencil. So this is an airbrush stencil, so I got this off of eBay, so if you just type in airbrush stencils these will come up somewhere. So I'm not sure which design I'm going to use for this one, so I'm just going to try a few and see which one takes my fancy. So there's a few on this one. And these fingers, when you're doing it on a real person, they can bend the fingers down, but on this, they just get in the way, to be honest. So I'm going to use the jagged one, I think. So I'm going to get that in position and then go over again with that airbrush with a white. So you want that mist to come out nice. You don't want it to come out really fast because it does go under your stencils and stuff. So just try and get your control on your trigger for how much paint is coming out. So I'm going to do it on this one as well. So on this one I'm just going to try and get on the jagged bit and leave more of the pink on the sides. So I'm going to start on my finger and then again just move on to that nail. So that one was the base. So I've cleaned that again. I've just put airbrushing and flushed that airbrush out. So I am going in with Scarlet Red now. So this is a bit of a darker red than the previous one because I wanted it to show up a little bit better over those colours. So I'm just checking it's coming out nice as usual. Find these arts. So the 3 sizes on this one of arts, like a big, a medium and a small. So I couldn't get that stencil around there, so it's easy just to take these fingers off to do this so that I can actually bend that round that nail. Like I say, if it's a client, they can just bend their fingers down and it's a lot easier. So just make sure that's coming out, and then I'm just going to go over those love arts. then I'm just going to do a few of these red love arts on every nail, but in different sizes, and mix it up a little bit. So again, just bend that round the shape of the nail so that it's connected to that nail before you start, otherwise again it will go under and spoil it. And that is the reason why I top coat quite a lot when I'm doing airbrush, so that if I make a mistake I can wipe it off without having to remove too much of the design. And you just go back a stage then, and you might have to, if you remove a mistake, you might have to do the full nail. But as long as you top coat every so often, you're fine. So again, just apply that and then just go over that with the airbrush. So I'm going to move these down and then just do a gap between them so I don't have to keep taking them off completely. So I do want these love arts on the white bit on the tip mainly, but I am putting them up on the pink and the red part as well. Airbrushing though, you've got so many designs you can do that you can't do with normal nail art. It's just, and it's fast, it's really fast. Once you get the hang of it, airbrushing's really nice. It's great if you're not too good at doing your ombres, because you can put your pink on and then just put some white in here and do an ombre, a French ombre or a baby boomer. So easy with an airbrush machine. So that's the red one's done. So I've changed the paint now to white, I think. So we're going to do some white arts across all these nails as well. Again, if it's wet, just let that air dry it, don't pull it back, just let that air come out and dry that paint, because it dries so fast. So again, I've had to remove that because I can't bend this round the nail. How many people actually use an airbrush? Do any of you that follow me do an airbrush? Have you got one? Would you like to see any more videos on airbrush, or have I just do them random every so often? Because there's no point me doing them if you guys do not do airbrush designs. But I just fancied doing something a little bit different, and I did have a question, but it was, I don't know which language it was, so I couldn't answer the question. It had question marks in it, so I'm assuming she wanted to know how I used it or if it were any good. So I thought I'd do this video just to show, if anybody does watch it, that it is pretty good to have an airbrush. It's simple. So yeah, I've gone over and done some white arts. So they are done. So we are going to top coat these now with, I can't remember which one this one is. I don't know if this one's the matte again, or let me have a think. I think this is matte, so I'm going over with a matte again. And then I will bob that onto the lamp for a minute. And then while that's cooking, I'm just going to take my palette and I'm going to get a dotting tool and some white acrylic paint, just to add a little bit of extra visual on these, because I just wanted them to be, just to pop a little bit. And I'm finding white gel polish at the minute is not doing it for me. So I've just got a dotting tool and I'm just going to do some little circles. So if you just do one dot and then don't put any more paint on your brush or your dotting tool and just go from big to little. So I'm just going to do these random over these nails, just to funky these up a little bit. And then I will let that dry. Because it is acrylic paint, it does take a little while to dry, but it's a lot crisper, I think, than gel polish at the minute for me. And this one, and then once I have let these dry, I am gonna top coat these. So these are the airbrush paints that I've been using. So I'm gonna gloss top coat these now so that they're all nice and shiny. So I will do all them. I will bob that under the lamp for a minute, and this will be this design done, guys. So if you do use airbrush, let me know if you'd like to see some more videos on designs or any problems that you're having with airbrush. Let us know in comments and I can do some more videos, but other than that, this is the nails done, guys.